Hello everyone, my name is Zhen Cheng. Today I'm here to make the presentation of the microgrid optimization analysis. The research target is to discover the compensation, a type of new reasonable compensation system of the microgrid system. And this compensation system should be leveraged in most situations, such as dramatic voltage fluctuation and the frequency changing. In this research design, I'm responsible to conclude and introduce the literature review and the relative design as well as the basic and design content. Primarily, I would like to introduce the first part, the brief introduction about this design. This part could be regarded as a brief introduction and the conclusion of the research part. According to the research and the investigation, the keyword is pretty good and clear. The observation of the microgrid system. The microgrid system and the relative technology as well as the techniques compared with another traditional method and the controlling method. The microgrid technology is relatively emergent. It could be responsible for the supplying electrical power to some areas, some remote areas such as the countryside and the island areas. Also, in the next part, two different operation and running model of the microgrid system will be introduction briefly. Okay, let's move on the next part. In this part, two different running and operation mode will be introduced. Will be introduced. The first one name is grid connection running mode. This mode is quite clear and normal. It means when the microgrid system works under this normal situation and this mode, it could finish the supplying electric power to users when everything and every time is good in this microgrid system. But on the contrary, some troubles is not be avoided as soon as possible, such as the shortcut and the breakdown. So in this time, this mode is not reasonable. But when some areas happen the microgrid system, another mode need to be added, the off connection mode. Okay. This is a brief introduction of the two different modes. In the last part, I will introduce the literature review. The literature review, I will talk about it by three different areas: the frequency and the voltage controlling, and the discussion of the distribution resources and the reactive as well as the reactive power and power factors. Okay, in this first part, I will introduce the frequency and the voltage controlling. In this part, different modes have been provided: the owner members controlling and the peer-to-peer controlling method. The first method is important. The first part is important and reasonable. This part is to install controlling devices to the central resources. Also, the other power resources will receive the relative controlling, including the frequency and the voltage controlling information. Finally, these two different parts could achieve the cooperation each other and make it clear and this mission. The second method is nothing with this one. The peer-to-peer controlling. In this part, every electrical sources have the respective controlling information and sharing. I mean, there is no any cooperation between every power resources in microgrid system. Also, let's talk about the distribution resources. In this research, I give the example of the wind and the night energy because these two different distribution resources have been leveraged by people in the microgrid system in this world. The wind and the light have been leveraged in some time. As I said before, the microgrid system is pretty ineligible for the remote areas, such as the isolated island, the control city areas. In this time, a new system has been researched. The photovoltaic system. It is information nice and automatic. This system could combine every distribution resources in the natural life, and also it could navigate in at the most of situation and save more fuel energy in this time. Okay, let's move on the next part. The space. Okay, let's move on the next part. The optimization factors, the reactive power and the power factors areas. In this case, the power factor is pretty incredible and significant. As we know, the more reactive power could impact the power factor selectively. The compensation system of the microgrid is pretty significant and indispensable. The high voltage and the low voltage compensation system of the microgrid system is pretty normal, but the two different methods has some disadvantages. This may concentrated on the shortage of automatic factors, and it is not energy saving. Okay. In the next part, I want to introduce the brief introduction of the specific design. In this part, I will calculate the two different research designs before. So this is improvement for the frequency and the voltage controlling, and the reactive power and the power factors area is also the target of this design. The algorithm of the research design is to calculate the voltage controlling and the frequency controlling. It could be leveraged when the frequency and voltage fluctuation and changing. Also, if the data is not quite accurate, this method could find the mistake resources and revise it. In this experiment, there is a central controlling system in this microgrid. The point is mainly responsible for sharing the controlling and composition information to the component of the microgrid. During this time, the algorithm and the mathematical formulas could be regarded as one of the participation of this design. It could calculate the research result according to the data from the composition system supervising device. So this is the new composition method to retrieve the response. So this is a type of new reasonable resource and techniques, and it is pretty advanced. However, the disadvantages could not be avoided. Some exterior factors could not be predicted as soon as possible, such as the weather and the winter factors. Finally, the relative analysis of this area need more research. According to the before investigation and research information, the automatic supervision and the operation need more improvement in this research design. The automatic and the information factor pay more attention and focus.